If you want to become rich like many successful people and build wealth, this video is for you. Because I've been guiding wealthy people in the investment industry for over 15 years now. And that's where I noticed a pattern. There's one special thing that they all have in common. They don't just work hard, they don't rely solely on luck, and they don't sacrifice everything for their wealth. No, instead, they focus on something very important, and that is they first build the picture in their mind and then build in the outside world. So let me explain what I mean. Look at Jim Carrey, for example. The actor and comedian famously wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, dated for Thanksgiving 1995. He visualized himself receiving that amount, and in 1994, he earned that amount for his role in Dumb and Dumber. See this video where Jim is talking about this visualization.
Who would have thought, in all of the years of the Oprah show, that Jim Carrey would be one of our greatest teachers? Obviously, you knew somewhere inside yourself that you were destined to be famous, because I think it's really a marvelous thing, that visualization thing you did. Do you all read about this or hear this? That you used to go up on Mulholland Drive and park
every night
and visualize seeing yourself as...
Yeah, I would visualize,
This is when you were broke and poor.
You know, right, having directors interested in me and people that I respected saying, you know, I like your work or whatever that is. And I would visualize things coming to me that I wanted or whatever.
This was in like 1987, 85?
Yeah. And I had nothing at that time, so it was like, but it just made me feel better. It made me, at that time, all it really was for me was kind of making me feel better. I would drive home and think, well, I do have these things, and they're out there. I just don't have a hold of them yet, but they're out there.
Okay, so you would get this from what, self-help books or whatever?
Yeah, self-help section.
Self-help section.
They've renamed it the Jim Carrey wing.
So didn't you write yourself a check? I heard that you did. Is that true?
I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years, or 3 years maybe, and I dated it Thanksgiving 1995, and I put it in my wallet, and I kept it there, and it deteriorated and stuff, but then just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million on, I think it was Dumb and Dumber, maybe.
Dumb and Dumber, yeah. So you visualize yourself like... Visualization works if you work hard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. You can't just visualize and then, you know, go eat a sandwich.
I love that. That was such a powerful moment for me, because I was not a person who did visualization or thought about my belief system in such a practical way. But I learned a lot from Jim Carrey on that show, and he is absolutely correct. If you can see it and believe it, it is a lot easier to achieve it. So thank you, Jim, for reminding us of that lesson. And it doesn't mean that for every person that writes the $10 million check that that's going to happen for you, because so many times people who do that process live in the space of wanting and resisting it instead of writing it, visualizing it, seeing it for yourself, and then letting it go. Letting it go, but moving in the direction of working toward it. So nothing happens at first. It's over the process of the time and the effort and the energy that you put into a thing that the energy comes out.
And so not only visualization have a great impact on the life of Jim Carrey, but also Oprah Winfrey did the same. Oprah Winfrey was often shared how she visualized her success long before she became famous. She wrote down her goals and created vision boards, which helped her focus on her aspirations and manifest them into reality. So they visualize what they want and have a clear picture in their mind. And if you're a bit like me, being more analytical and sometimes skeptical about things you don't fully understand, this might sound a bit unrealistic, right? But years ago, I learned that we don't always fully grasp everything we hear or see. Take a radio, for example. Isn't it strange that by tuning a dial, you can access completely different music? And this works the same with manifestation. And what I mean by this is, just because we don't fully understand how it works doesn't mean it doesn't work, right? Years ago, I began to notice that wealthy people were doing something different. That's when I discovered the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, a neuroscientist who has researched how the mind shapes our reality. And think about it. Your thoughts truly become the foundation for the reality you build in your mind and then in the outside world. And the most interesting part is that Dr. Joe Dispenza uses science to back up the power of thoughts, visualization, and emotions in creating real world outcomes. And for some reason, it clicked. And this is what makes Joey Dispenza so special. And that is that he measures all the effects of his teachings in real life situations using scientific methods to validate his concepts. So he literally measures and sees the results of the changes on the brain scans in his workshops and seminars. So let's hear what he has to say.
Mental rehearsal also changes the body. You can take a group of men and have them imagine or rehearse doing bicep curls for an hour a day for 2 weeks and add an emotional component called stronger, harder, more intense. And for 1 hour, they practice in their mind doing those curls. At the end of 2 weeks, there's a 13.5 increase in muscle strength. They never lifted a weight. Their body's changing by thought alone. So the person who's priming their brain and body through rehearsal, when they get in their play box, there's no thinking. They're just doing. There's just the act. In fact, the thought of what they're doing becomes the experience. They get lost in the act, and their analytical facilities, their analytical mind is out of the way, and they can sustain a state where nothing in their environment is going to move them from this state. They're in the feeling of what it would feel like to play well, and they hold on to that feeling. And when the conditions get tense, they actually do something different. They self-regulate, and they actually crave this moment of performance to be able to produce an outcome. And so there's no mysticism to this. It's just what people do when they get really into something is that we rehearse all the time. So but people understand if you take a group of people that never played the piano before and you teach them one-handed scales and chords and they come and practice for 2 hours a day for 5 days, at the end of 5 days, if you do a brain scan before and after, they'll grow circuits on the opposite side of the brain. No magic there. You learn something new. Learning's making new connections. You get your body involved. You get some instruction. You have an experience. Experience enriches the circuits. Repeat it over and over again, fire and wire, and pay attention and stay present. You'll assemble new neurological circuitry. Take another group of people, have them close their eyes, and actually have them mentally rehearse playing the scales and chords for 2 hours a day for 5 days. Scan their brain before and after, and at the end of 5 days, their brain will look like they've been playing the piano for 5 days, but they never lifted a finger. The brain literally changed through the rehearsal. Okay, so now take the person and put them in front of a piano. They never played the piano before. And they could actually play those scales and chords like the people who are actually physically demonstrating it. So what does that have to do?
So if you want to become successful and have enough money to do whatever you like, this part is essential to understand, right? And the first time I thought about this concept that you can actually play the piano in your mind and improve physically was mind-blowing to me. And therefore I dove further into the subject of manifestation, where one thing stood really out for me. And that is when I began exploring this topic, I came across something fascinating. But first, if you like the manifestation topic and building ultimate wealth through investing, just hit the subscribe button and stay up to date. So back to something fascinating, because research has been done on people who won the lottery by chance. And these individuals suddenly had enough money to be financially free. Yet, surprisingly, many ended up bankrupt within a few years. So, how is this possible? This shows that even with sudden wealth, without the right mindset and habits, keeping and growing that wealth can be a challenge. These lottery winners may have manifested the wealth, but they hadn't mentally or emotionally prepared for the responsibilities and challenges that come with maintaining it. Manifestation isn't just about wishing for money. It's about embodying the mindset of someone who knows how to handle wealth. It requires discipline, self-belief, and a clear vision for the future. And that's why simply winning money or working hard isn't enough. You also need to align your thoughts and actions with your financial goals. So the key is that manifestation is not magic, it's a process. It's about thinking, feeling, and behaving in alignment with the outcome you want. And this allows you to attract wealth and, more importantly, develop the habits and mindset to sustain and grow the wealth over time. So let me know in the comments below what kind of things you have manifested in your life. If you want to build the right mindset for investing, it's crucial to understand some key lessons as you build your wealth. It all comes down to a few simple principles. And in this video, we share 26 lessons from Jack Bogle himself, a legendary figure in the financial industry with over 68 years of experience. You definitely don't want to miss out on this. See you in the next video.